it seems to be working. Testing 1, 2, 3. Hopefully you guys saw my announcement on the Synthetic channel. I'm trying to move this stuff over here as planned, so it gets confusing with the mixed content on there. Trying to keep it more music and tech. So I'll probably move the videos over at some point. I'll have to rip them and repost them, but I'll leave them over there for now, just to keep it easier. Problem with moving and reposting them, I lose all the chat, and there's some good chat in some of those things. I'll probably have them in both places. We'll see. Anyway, just make sure I get this. That's the center right there. Okay. Just bear with me here. Alright, so this is a continuation of last night, where the weather was crap. So I did a microscope stream for a while on MicroAddict, and then the weather lightened up a bit. The clouds moved away, but as suspected, the scene conditions were not great. So I went out anyway because I wanted to practice with some more gadgets I was using, and test some other settings I've been wanting to use. I did get a chance with the time involved up in Yosemite to do some planetary stuff the way I wanted to, because I got such a late start up there. And I was also enjoying the sky for quite a while before I started. It's just amazing up there. So anyway, I wanted to show you, as promised, what happens when you process some images that maybe don't look so good or just look terrible into something usable. And this technique is even useful for good images, just to make them even better. It's just an enhancement technique. It's been around a long time, at least since digital imaging. It's been around for photography and using your computers and such as a digital darkroom. So it's essentially, because I'm not using images in some of these, I'm using video. It's a slightly different process than the original intention of the stacking software, but there's a series of stacking programs on the market. Some are free, some are expensive, some are open source, whatever. And you're basically using some intelligence of the program to automatically register features on a picture, assuming the picture is not totally ruined. And you can basically take maybe 500 pictures of Jupiter, or in the case of a video, convert it to 500 frames as an AVI file, which becomes individual frames, not just like a time-based medium. The software seems to prefer AVI for that reason. And you can take the image, pile of images or video, convert it to AVI, upload it into the stacking software, and basically set a few parameters. Yes, it's a planet, so it knows kind of looking for a certain shape and luminosity and stuff. And then it just sits there and it auto-generates points it thinks are similar in all the images. And you basically hit go. And if it doesn't work, you do it again, because it's awfully quick for thousands of images. And so I'm basically probably going to do some of this in the live stream at one point in the field, as I'm getting some more planetary images. It'd be kind of nice to have a nice quality one to show you live, instead of just live through the live view camera. And so it's just a couple of programs. One is to convert the video to AVI, since cameras generally don't shoot in AVI mode. I think the old point shoots did, but not for a long time. They're usually QuickTime MOVs or MP4s. So you convert to AVI with this kind of free tool that's on the internet, and then use this stacking software. A couple different versions out there to convert it to stacking format. Basically, it sits and converts it all into one master TIFF image, or you can choose a different format if you want. And so here's a quick example of some of the results I got. First, I'll show you the, you see in the upper left corner is the video of Jupiter from last night. That was pretty bad. And I'm going to play it for a little bit so you can see it moved around as I was messing with the controls and bumping the scope and stuff, but it's quite, hold on, I got audio coming through and I'm not supposed to. There we go. Now it's silent. I can move this image down a bit so it doesn't block in case it moves off screen a little bit. So you can see I was constantly playing with it. So it doesn't even have to be centered images. It just, as long as it's in the frame, the software is really good at finding the file, the image itself that you need to target to stack. So the software's come a long way. The old days it was more primitive. But and if you watch the stream, you saw how the image quality was pretty good considering the conditions I was looking at. You can still see the equatorial belts. You know, right here you can see equatorial belts on there. It's a bit fuzzy, but it's not like it's just a fuzzy ball with no features. You can see the markings there. But obviously with stacking and a little bit of unsharp mask and a couple of tricks in Photoshop, you can actually pop it. I don't want to make it look too crazy. Some of these guys do these videos online using these tools, and they just make it look like a drawing or a painting, or just don't really know how to use sharpening tools, or at least not, they use it more artistically rather than realistically. And I wanted it to look close to what it was, but still pop some of the features. So you've seen enough of that. That's just a quick sample of the video. Here is here's the actual image itself that I processed through the stacking software and then ran through one pass of unsharp mask in Photoshop with specific settings. And let me go ahead and just zoom in a bit so you get a better idea of the quality. Oops. Oh, what to do? Hold on a second. That's the wrong video. Hold on. I hate when it does this. It's a problem with having an image viewer, a bunch of random files in there. So that was actually an AR video I had shot in the field recently. It was kind of fun, but it has nothing to do with astronomy. Let me pull up the image file again here. Earth in view is kind of wacky that way. It's not super friendly for you hit the wrong button and suddenly you're in La La Land. Oh, come on, where is the stupid image folder? No, it's not there. Sorry, you click on random stuff and this happens. Oh, I put it in the temp directory, that's why. Almost there. Sorry for the delay. Okay. So this is what I was trying to show you. I did it again. Oh, I hate this when it does this. Now I'm stuck in a loop with this dumb program. There we go. One of the things I hate about EarthView. It's a free program, but it has issues of being free. Okay, let's move those to another folder. That's part of the problem. There we go. Should not cycle through other dumb images now. It's in a different folder. Because it's meant to deal with large amounts of files, it kind of just cycles through, and you know, you got to be careful what you keep in there. Luckily, I just had some boring phone contacts and some AR videos. All right. Okay, now it's behaving properly. So you can see. Pulled out a decent view of the equatorial belts. Even got one of the polar regions shading kind of nicely there. They're still soft, but it's, you know, because the original image was quite soft. That's as much as I wanted to push it. Hey, Viral, how's it going? Glad you found the channel. I made an announcement on Synthetic, but I'm not sure who saw it. This is partly because I want to move this stuff over here, and partly because it's an experiment to see if people actually follow the breadcrumbs. So thanks for finding it. Anyway, so that is the enhanced video, or so enhanced picture from the registered snapshots from the video that was processed from last night. Only took about for running through both programs, convert to AVI, and there's registration and quickly Photoshop unsharp masked. Total time was like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that. It was pretty quick. So so I have that image. Let me just show you another one. I pushed a little bit further just for kicks, which again starts to look more like the stuff the average person puts up of enhanced photos, which I'm not into, but you know, I'm just more picky that way, I guess. So this one is unsharp mask even further, and because it's not bad, I mean, it's bringing out the noise a little bit more in the image and starting to show a little more of the goodies down here. And this, of course, the polar region got darker, but it's starting to look fakey at this point, although it's still kind of fun if you haven't seen a good view of Jupiter. This kind of gives you an idea what you can see in the scope with your naked eye, looking at the eyepiece without a camera, but still fuzzy, so it's still not perfect. But I just want to show you pushing it just a little bit further. Some of these guys get like harsh lines on the belts and weird swirly artifacts from compression mixed with stuff that was kind of hidden in the image, and at the end of the day it looks like an art piece and not an image. It just, I don't like it. So I thought I'd just show you the difference. I didn't push it too far, but if you push it just a little bit further, it's kind of nice sometimes. The other video is Saturn, which, as you saw the video, and I'll play it here again if you didn't see it last night, it looked really, really bad. It was in the lower region of the sky. It was seriously swimming in atmospheric distortion, and also a thicker chunk of the atmosphere as it's getting lower on the horizon. You're just looking through more and more stuff. If you look straight up at the zenith, straight above your head, it's the thinnest part of the atmosphere. So you want to normally wait till an object goes high, either with binoculars or a telescope or whatever. It just will be a much clearer image, even on a not so great night, just because it's a thinner part of the atmosphere. As you look further down toward the horizon, you're looking through thicker and thicker layers of atmosphere. So even when it's a really good night, it's just not good to look at stuff at the bottom. Sometimes you see like Sirius come up, which is the brightest star in the sky other than the sun, obviously. It looks like a helicopter or an airplane coming your way with a bunch of crazy lights going, but it's really just Sirius being broken up by the atmosphere. It looks like red and blue police lights sometimes. And they're like, wow, that's really bad. And that's naked eye sometimes. So really bad in a scope when it looks that bad. So here's what Saturn looked like. And move this out of the way because that's blocking. And you'll see it move around because, again, it wasn't perfectly centered, but it looks really bad. And you see it distorting like it's underwater. You'll even see the rings look like wings as they're kind of flapping in different directions. So atmospheric distortion last night was brutal. And so even though the clouds broke and it looks kind of cool with your naked eye, it's like, well, it's not really so cool. So that's the video. Now let's take a look at the image that I processed. It was worse than Jupiter by a long shot, so I couldn't process it too much because it's just pointless. But just to give you an idea what is possible here. Yeah. No, go up here. No. Why are you not selecting the picture? There we go. Okay, I can zoom this in a little bit. It's not going to be pretty, but it's certainly better than the video you saw. It's not being still as part of the benefit. It's not waving around, but it kept the plane of the rings. You can see the gap better than you could see in the video. You're not even seeing Cassini's division where the rings break up into two major chunks. It's a bad image, but you are getting the color. It's kind of a yellow, creamy kind of. It's just a little bit bright here because one of the tricks of unsharp mask is often it brightens the object while it's sharpening, as well as making the image more defined. So I don't want to push it further than this because it would start to look really bad. But just to show you that it looked horrible in the video, I was able to resurrect something that looked more like a handheld camera photo at the lens or worse. But so processing your images can help you with bad images and also make good images way better if you go through all the steps. But that was just a quick little thing I want to show you guys. I will leave these side by side just so we can have a little decorative stuff in the background here. Let's leave it on pause there in the background for comparison's sake. And I probably should move it to where it's actually in the middle of the frame. Things got shuffled around there. There we go. So you can see them side by side in the background while we look at other stuff here. So as promised in the title, I'm going to do a quick review of some other apps I either forgot to mention or found in the last couple of days. So let's start with that. And I'll be taking more images on the streams and I'll be doing more processing over time and stuff so you guys can get a feel for other tricks you can do even with a really modest setup. Alright, so quick thing off the bat, I mentioned this last time. The splash screen in the iOS you can actually convert to this live. It's not really live, but it's a nice 3D view of the globe. It puts you where you are. As you guys see, I'm in California, so it put me on there. But what's fun about the app is even though it's not a live cloud map per se, like NOAA images, it does represent clouds or no clouds well enough that you see the clouds on there that I know before I go outside the clouds are in place. I actually can show you an app that actually shows you the clouds. So we're going to do... Where is that? I open them all different times. So real quick, of course, Apple has their weather app, which is a nice, useful thing, really quick, just to get a forecast as well as what's going on right now. So it's kind of using this information, I'm pretty sure, to dump a kind of generic cloud view onto that 3D globe. So before you even go any further on your phone, you can basically go, oh, there's some clouds outside. Now it's not going to look just like this, because again, it's not live data, but it is representative of what's happening based on cloud cover. So it's partly cloudy, and the globe shows partly cloudy for that part of my location. So it's kind of a fun indicator. Again, it's not super precise, but I've used it many nights now, and it was always accurate as far as it doesn't look great before I go out. And sure enough, before I even open an app, it's right there, which is kind of nice. But there's, you can use the Weather Channel. Actually has an app that's decent, and it's free for the most part. And you just go in here under General Map View. You go into all layers, turn on clouds, or you can also turn on the radar. I just turn on the clouds, and then you zoom out. It's going to dump the clouds on there. In this case, it's pretty cloudy all over, so it just looks gray. You can zoom in if you want some general, are there pockets where it's not, but pretty much we got it all cloudy outside right now. But you can zoom way out, and this is actual real data. So you see the color differences. It's pocketed various places. And if you want the full deal, just like you're watching a Weather Channel, you can see weather systems coming in. Oh, damn it. Sorry, it's too bright. Let me fix that again. I gotta watch the screen better. iPhone is really bright, and this dumb camera doesn't do it well. So you can see the cloud there on the master view. You can zoom way in, and you can see the patchiness of the clouds from my location. But if I zoom way in, it's really cloudy all over right now, so it won't make a difference tonight. This general view is good enough. So again, I know it's cloudy now. It'll be cloudy for a while. Look at the weather system coming in. It generally, if you watch the weather, it generally has these arrows with little indicators on them showing the weather system coming in and which direction it's going. So I already know by looking outside and reinforcing it with this bigger view that I'm screwed for tonight if I wanted to observe, which is fine because that's why I'm doing this. So Weather Channel, you pick this this icon here to launch the map. You click on the layers, turn on clouds, which I already did, and then you get your clouds mapped on here. So it's kind of nice to have a real app that's really based on live weather instead of having to go turn the Weather Channel on. It's kind of nice to have. So that's a couple weather things. I think I had a couple more little weather things that were kind of fun, just briefly. There's one called Astro Weather, which again gives you predictions over the week and a little bar graph and some other details about it. I haven't delved into all the different apps features. Some of these, when you start poking around, they say, hey, do you want to upgrade? You got to pay for, or give you an ad or something like that. I'm like, I just wanted some real basic stuff at the splash screen, at the main screen. But that one is actually, I think it was free, at least for the use that I had for it. So that's nice. Was there any other weather stuff? Oh yeah, this one's cool. It's called, the actual app name is called Good to Stargaze. And it gives you a nice little simple graphic and some settings. So it's showing you the wind speed, it's showing you the visibility, the scene in arc seconds. So if you did put it in a telescope as I was explaining before, the celestial coordinates. Declination is celestial latitude. It's in degrees, minutes, and seconds. Right ascension is celestial longitude, and it's in hours, minutes, and seconds. And I'll get back to that later because it's the sidereal time thing. It's kind of fun to look at. But that's what the 0.6 means. It's arc second visibility. And it shows you the temperature, and in my local thing, it's not metric, sorry. And cloud cover, and any one of these you can click on and get some extra details on, and it gives you the little graph at the bottom and some other fun things you get in there. But so just in one little page, you get all this cool information, which again is useful to plan your night or to go out at all. So it's a shame you have to use a bunch of apps to do all this, but they all have their strengths. So Good to Stargaze was fun, and this other one I showed the other night, I want to go back to real quick because it was funny, useful. It's called Sky Live, and yes, it is poor right now, probably even less than 9%. So it really quickly gives you, based on your location, poor stargazing conditions. When you have it on during the daytime, obviously it says, it's also very poor because it's too bright. So in this case, it's poor because of weather. But it's fun. It's just in a quick glance, and there's some settings in here you can tweak it. But if you just want to know some quick information and not have to think about it too much, these apps are actually quite useful. And then I want to... What? Oh. I wanted to go in... I think there's one or two more apps for weather. Bear with me while I do a quick survey here. I had a bunch open. Don't think so. I'll get back to it if there is, but... one about light pollution is kind of interesting. There's a pretty decent app, but it kept crashing, and a bunch of people complaining about it on the App Store. Apparently, either the OS update or maybe the newer phones or whatever just don't like the app. So a bunch of people are complaining about it now. But I found another one it's a little bit different. This one's called Light Pollution Map. Very simple name. And in this case, I kept it on this location because as I zoom out, you'll see why we go to this place in Yosemite, why I was there on Saturday night, and why my group loves going up there for star parties. And so this is Yosemite Valley right here. There's Half Dome, El Capitan's over here. But if I zoom in here, I'll try and stay straight on the path here. Did I follow the path? It's hard to see when you zoom out too far. Okay, there we go. Here is the... Did I lose it? Oh man, hold on a second. I knew I would do that. It's really hard to find when you zoom way out. Let's have Dome right here. That's where the road comes in. Zigzag. Okay. It's a little far up from the point. There's Glacier Point right there. And there's a walk to the parking lot. Did I miss it? Huh. Give me a second here. This is so dim. I didn't dim it for the camera. I think I know why. Okay. There's the road coming in. It's set back from the cliff a little bit. I get lost here when I go too far off the edge there. That's falling into the valley, so that's too far. I knew this was going to happen. I played with this earlier. It is hard to find when you go from a topographical map photograph. Ah, there we go. There's the road. Okay, follow the road in. There's the road. Or is that the trail? That's actually a trail, I think. Yeah, that's the trail. I think road's blue and trails are yellow. 4-mile trail. Trail does take you to the point, though. Sorry, this is incredibly boring trying to find this site for you guys, but it illustrates a really good point. Although this whole area is just as dark, really. So this is Glacier Point. If you zoom out, and zoom out, and zoom out, and zoom out, and zoom out. Let me turn the brightness down a little bit. And zoom out, and zoom out, and you get more greenery as it's mixing the maps. And you zoom out, and zoom out. You'll start to see the light pollution map superimposed. See that whole region right there? That's like really minor light pollution. And you zoom out, and you zoom out, and you zoom out, and the whole Bay Area is red and white, which is the most extreme light pollution. But as you saw, it's a hybrid map, and in Yosemite there's nothing. It's just topographic map. This light pollution overlay doesn't even exist. It's so dark there. When the Milky Way comes up high enough, you know, looking into our galaxy, it casts so much light just from starlight, and your eyes are adapted. You can actually cast a shadow of your hand on the ground on a good night. So the clouds are black, not yellow or orange. Stars just pop out all over the place. If you don't know the constellations very well, you'll be totally lost. Even if you do know them, it takes you sometimes a couple minutes every time you go up there to get adjusted. Because like, wait a minute, where? Oh, there it is. So many more stars to see. So this gives you an example of light pollution, and this one's kind of fun. This app is the entire world, actually. So if you guys want to see, I know a bunch of my friends online are in the UK. So let's go look at the UK. Let's see how bad the light pollution is there. So again, it's obviously in the big city and outskirts is going to be the worst. But like this is like solid, right? Just countryside is not bad, but again, it's still green. It's not like it was in Yosemite, where it was just not even registering as a color map. Like it's tapering off here like a light blue, an aquamarine blue, but it's not as, it's still registering. So there's like light pollution everywhere. Of course, if you go to Japan, that's the famous one, Japan at night, where it shows the Earth at night, all those mosaic pictures. And it's all, I mean, there's some light blue. There's some areas almost like Yosemite where it's almost not registering. Very minimal light blue. But it's not much. The whole island is this whole Honshu is pretty much illuminated. Hokkaido has some more remote areas. You can see some dark spots there. But yeah, so it's kind of funny. So it's a fun little app. It was worth, this is actually a couple bucks, like $3-4 or something like that. So I figured since it actually works and doesn't crash, it'll be fun just to, not just to show here, but look around the world and see, maybe plan other places to go with a telescope. So, go where it's dark. Go where it's altitude, go where it's dark, and go where the weather is fairly consistent. So you don't have clouds and haze and too much humidity and all that kind of stuff. Trillium Lake, sounds familiar, but I don't know where that is. Is that Sierras? Okay, so that's little light pollution app, which is clever. There's some other apps that had it as an add-on, but it was a kind of an expensive add-on, and this app was only like $3-4. I'm like, why would I spend $10 to add it to your app when I just use another app? You know, that's another trick about some of this stuff is don't just go to one. Although you can sometimes get a lot of stuff in one source, sometimes that module is not very good, and they charge you a premium, like a serious premium for stuff. So I know it's, you know, everyone's got limited time and interest and stuff, and some of this stuff, so you don't want to spend too much time shopping around. But if you want better features and saving money on certain things, it's kind of nice to do a little extra comparing, so you don't buy a bunch of apps or clog up your phone with a bunch of apps that are useless. Sometimes it's worth paying for something as long as it doesn't make the app cumbersome or crash or you know, or just not work very well. So another thing I wanted to show was this concept of sidereal time. So solar time is what we use. Got our 24-hour day. Sidereal time is our relation to the stars in the background. And it's actually funny, it's very close to solar time. It's only off by about 4 minutes. But the fun thing about sidereal time is if you start to learn the constellations and their coordinates, like I said, right ascension is celestial longitude, and it's hours, minutes, and seconds, just like a clock. So if you learn some of your favorite, they used to sell these watches, a sidereal watch, actually a digital watch for like super nerd astronomy guys, because you didn't have phones back then and apps and all this stuff. You had basically your computer, or you had maybe a little Casio solar system watch, which was kind of fun but kind of silly, hard to read because it's so tiny. It only had like planets out to Saturn, I think. It didn't have the whole solar system, but it was still cool. It was a novel, and it did have actual data in it, but it's just tiny and not that useful. But they're also selling sidereal watches, so if you want to keep an eye on your favorite constellation and you know its coordinates, the right ascension coordinates, because what happens is the sidereal time is when the time you're looking for crosses our local meridian. So, and I'll show you that on another app. First I'll show you a sidereal time app. There you go, very nerdy. So there's universal time, Greenwich Mean Time, and local time, and sidereal time for my location, which in this case is Mountain View right now. And you'll see it's off by just a little bit from normal time. So it's, where are we here, 23, let's say basically off by like roughly 4 minutes. So it's not a very good app, but it's just, there are 3 or 4 of them I found, but one of them already timed out, and it was actually a better app. But this one was a free one. I said, yeah, what the hell? But you get the basic idea. It's if you want to keep an eye on this stuff without opening a bunch of apps, you can have this running in the background and go, oh, it's just about this time, I want to go see my favorite constellation. So if you saw it was 21:26 local sidereal time, LST, and if I go to this app, which I already set some of the extra goodies on so you can see the meridian, where is it? Makes the app pretty cluttered if you're not into it, but if you need that information, it's good to have it turned on. Well, there's another sidereal app, that red one there, but it's kind of funky. Where is my meridian? Hold on, sorry. Put it in here. So you see that green line there? The meridian is your north and south. It's basically a line between the poles. So it's along your north and south at your zenith. That's your meridian. So due south as the time crosses over. You look at the top, there's some time in right ascension here. And I have my little zoom thing that can let me zoom in on details. But let me bear with me while I turn this brightness up for a second so I can see it better. Hopefully it's not too bright for the... No, not too bright. This is good. So there's your zenith. There's the right ascension coordinates going there. And declination is your celestial latitude. And as you look across the numbers here, and you count there, the number there at the meridian will match the number in the sidereal time app. So again, it's nerdy, but if you're into this stuff and you just need to know, oh, I wonder when Orion's up, and you know Orion's constellation, and you just had a quick glance at sidereal time, you know, oh, I've got a couple hours left because it doesn't come up till this time because of its coordinates. So it's esoteric, but again, some guys are into this stuff. And if you get more into astronomy, sometimes it's nice to know this stuff because, like anything else, you just memorize it by doing it. And the apps will show you how to use it. That's what the green line is for. The red line here is the ecliptic, which is where all the planets lie, and the moon. So there's the moon, there's Jupiter. So the red line is, it's basically the plane of our solar system. And again, I don't normally control these coordinates on, but I wanted to show it for this this demo. Just so you can see. I also turned on more objects. All these, this Messier 92. Let's see what that is. Hey, it's a nice globular cluster. Look at that. So this is a great app. This is Stellarium, the one I've been using for my live streams on the laptop, as well as on this phone once in a while for some stuff. Very, very useful little application. So that's sidereal time and how you use it on an app. Hey Matt, how's it going? Yeah, the NASA app's pretty good, right? It's some news, has some cool stuff on the planets, some 3D information. So I did all those weather things. I did that. And some other stuff in the solar system. So there's a solar eclipse app that came out a while back. This one has simulations in it, so you can simulate and show you how the solar eclipse actually works. They have a video with some time-based stuff going on while you're watching the video, and you hear people talking on location about diamond ring effect and Bailey's beads and shadow bands and first contact, third contact, all that kind of stuff. And it shows everyone getting all excited. It is fun. I've been to one total solar eclipse in Baja once back in '91. So this is a tutorial video. Let's go back. Then select the eclipse the time. So it shows you some past and upcoming eclipses. Of course, for this upcoming one, you have to buy this module. That's how a lot of this stuff works. But so, if you wanted to look up this one in October, it's an annular. Did it just crash on me? No. App setup. Oh no. Okay. Yeah. Whatever. Anyway, it's the only solar eclipse app I found. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, it'll do simulations on here. You can actually hit these buttons, and if you're actually doing the eclipse yourself, you could time it for your own use, and it will update the database. If you get real nerdy with some of this stuff, but it's kind of a fun thing to do if you're into eclipses, especially if you're not taking pictures, you're just watching, and maybe you want to take more part in the data of the eclipse. That's eclipse. Talking about moon stuff the other day. This app is fun because it's called I think it's Moon Map Pro. Let me just double check. What's the moon? I thought there was a some weird stuff in here too, but in general, it's a fun little app. There we go, that's what I wanted to look at. So you get details on the moon. You can simulate the phases throughout the month. It shows you percentages and the dates, and it gives you the different names: the waxing crescent, waning crescent, gibbous, new moon, waxing, full moon, waning gibbous, waxing gibbous. All the terms people get nerdy about with the moon stuff. It's pretty cool, actually. And all kinds of stats and stuff. And if you go to the main chart, you just, in a calendar view, you get all the phases with the actual percentages written on the moon at a glance. So you can simulate it with the slider bar, or you can just look at it at the calendar version of it, which is kind of fun. So I like this a lot. It's kind of fun. There's some other weird features in the app for people into like mystical stuff, apparently, but I just use those 2 pages. That's it. And again, a lot of these are free. So here it just shows us moon, but I thought it was called Moon Map Pro or something, or Moon Calendar Pro. Then there is, this is fun. This is called, yeah, it's hard to read with a dim light. This one's called Sun Time, and it's a nice animation of the balance of the Earth and, the Sun and the Moon. So you can zoom in at different levels to show the sinusoidal up and down path of the Moon and the Sun, and you can zoom through them, and then the light changes based on the. So now the Moon's up, and now the Sun's up, and at some point they're up around the same time. That's you get your eclipses and stuff. Does it cross over close enough? So it's just kind of a fun simulation, and you can get extreme with this one, or it just goes. It doesn't even bother changing brightness. It just shows you zipping up and down over the period. But look at as you go through time, look at the sun is up consistently, and the moon's path is shorter and shorter, and then it gets longer and longer, and then shorter and shorter again. So when you change the scale, you can really see. Of course, I can zoom way out, and it'll show an orrery, where it actually shows the planets going around the moon. I'm sorry, going around the sun. So that's kind of nice, because there aren't too many programs that use an orrery anymore, when you get the nice kind of top-down view of the solar system and how everything interacts with everything else. See the moon going crazy around the Earth, and you can also see how the whole the retrograde motion, where we catch up to stuff, and all of a sudden it looks like it's going behind us. So like now we're passing Mars, and now Mars looks like it's going backward. It's retrograde, and then we're going to catch Mars again around the orbit. We're catching up to Mars again, and all of a sudden it looks like Mars is going backward. So yeah, it's a really fun little app. And it's all based on the scale thing. Zoom, zoom, zoom out, zoom all the way in, and you get the individual day-night interplay of the app. So it's a very clever little app. I like this app. And that's just the main page. I haven't even gone to any of the features. So, good stuff. What else do I have like that? Another one called Sun Clock. Very basic. It's a free app. You've probably seen this on people's desks before they had mobile phones and stuff. And it just gives you the nice day-night view of the Earth. Stretch out into a nice little clock there. Just a visual effect. So it's kind of nice. What else do I have that's related to that? Oh, meteor shower. This is one talking about meteor meteor showers, and you go to view the chart. Did you crash? Some of these apps are cheap, so they don't really. And of course, it's got ads at the bottom, so it's the only quick one I could find on meteor showers. But looks like it's not up to date. I thought it was actually more information, so there might have been another one I got confused with, but that's kind of fun to track as well. You can put meteor showers on your planetary maps like Stellarium and stuff, but they're more just showing you what's called a radiant, where the meteors appear mostly to come from based on the orbit. So as you guys know, meteor showers are paths of comets, so they're periodic and show regularly every. So Halley's Comet's the famous one, which is 80 years roughly, something like that. So maybe twice in your lifetime you could see it. I missed it the first time, so I'm probably not going to see it, but I've seen way better comets. It's just Halley's Comet has more of a history behind it, mystique behind it, because of its the age and the fact that it's a long period. Some of them are much quicker. And they used to be found by amateurs a lot, but now with these near-Earth asteroid scares from the last couple decades, and all the probes now constantly searching the skies for stuff coming to kill us, more planet killers. Not that we could do anything about it anyway, but they want to know it's coming so we can all start crying, I guess. But they're finding all the comets now too. So all the comets have these funky names for the computer systems that are actually finding them. So the probes that are finding them. It's kind of funny because I knew a guy I used to work with up in the Sacramento area. He's in our office up there, and I'm down in Santa Clara. And he used to do star parties with the people up at work up there. And he would put comet notes in my local astronomy newsletter because he was constantly discovering them. He had a whole bunch named after him. But now that's not happening so much more because of these automated systems. What else do I have that's related to that? Some satellite stuff to talk about. It's kind of fun. Of course, there's the NASA app I was talking about. Very fun. You go and look at all kinds of events and simulations and stuff. It's a fun app. Let's go through a couple random ones here. This is Cosmic Atlas, which was kind of interesting because this one simulates some star systems, not just our own, and even has some extrasolar planets in it. So in this case, we're at Jupiter. This one even bothers to put in the ring around Jupiter, which you can always see from the backlight. When the probe went behind Jupiter and caught the right sun angle, you could actually see Jupiter has a very simple, it's a very, very simple ring system. You can't see from here. But this one lets you kind of cruise around. Now we go to Mars. And you can warp around back to Jupiter again. What's fun is I can go to another star system now. Oh, sorry. No, we're still on our system. This Uranus. Let me go up to here. I think it was. No, this Saturn. It's funny you can simulate Saturn backlit, which is kind of cool. Shadows and stuff. But there is a map here that lets you choose your system. There's a little navigational tool. This one actually, I think I just warped to another one. Let me see. No, I pulled out. It's a bit of a cryptic interface, but it did have some fun. Is it this? I forgot where it is. There was a browser you could pick where you wanted to go. Here it is. So we're in Sol. I can go to Proxima Centauri. And you can choose the navigate mode here. And you can, so here? Uh-oh, where do we go? Oh, now it goes to this like starfield simulation where you're actually flying through different stars in 3D, which is kind of fun, and you see the names go flying by. I don't know how I did this, I hit something by accident. But if you know where you're going, and you can just set it and do like a little space flight simulation here through the stars. It's kind of fun, I did that by accident. And then if you want to buy more features, you can turn stuff on. But I wanted to show you the, oh, here we go, navigation. So you can do various systems. Let's go to so now you can go to different stars. Now we're at Proxima Centauri. And I believe if I bring this control up now, I can I warp around? Yeah, here we go. Now I can look around Proxima Centauri at some of the neighbors. And there was a way to zoom out. Let's decenter it. This will be one of the neighbors. And like I said, it's a bit of a cryptic interface. This one, you gotta spend some time with it, but you know, now Alpha Centauri B. So I go back and I can kind of cruise around it. There we go. You get the lens flare and everything. It's a J.J. Abrams special. I saw it was fun because you could jump around to different star systems, and a couple of them actually had the extrasolar planets around the stars. You can actually see them as they imagine them right now. So well, that's kind of fun. It's called Cosmic Atlas. I like when they make it a little more different approach. Then we got Star Map 3D. This one's interesting because you can get color drawings on the constellations. So if you're having trouble with the artwork on the constellations and even basic, simple drawings, this time they put color drawings in all those Aries. Cetus the whale. There's microscopium. There's also telescopium somewhere. Where's telescopium? Somewhere around here. These are some of the southern objects, southern sky. So yeah, there's some fun there's Ophiuchus fighting the serpent there. Aquila the eagle, so this is a summer triangle. Lyra the lyre, which is the harp. Cygnus the swan, so the swan's got a yellow bill. It's kind of nice. Does it? Lacerda the lizard is green. Pegasus is going. Pegasus, nice color there. Cartoon. There's Perseus with his shield and his little cape. So that's kind of fun. They put the color artwork in here. I thought that was. I haven't seen that in other programs. Not even desktop programs. So that was fun, and then you also have some other features on here, like you can jump to, you want to see what planets are up. It just shows you, won't even bother wasting time, like, oh, Jupiter's definitely up, Saturn's up, Uranus is up, Neptune's up. So if you know beyond looking at the chart, instead of looking for them, you can just get a quick glance. What deep sky objects are up. Of course, the Milky Way is up. The Pleiades cluster is finally up because it's in Taurus. And then you click on it, it'll tell you where to go. And there's the Pleiades with the nebulosity. It's the Seven Sisters, and they even got the names next to all which I never actually learned. But so it's a nice little quick interface. In a way, kind of no frills compared to some other programs. But you want to see moons, okay? Well, the moon. You want to see Europa, Callisto, so we can go to look at Jupiter. It's going to go to Jupiter. We can zoom in, and you get a nice view of Jupiter with actual rotation, because there it goes. It shows all the Galilean moons, but also shows some of the other moons that can't really be seen very easily from a telescope, just in case you want to see them. You can go to comets, satellites, meteor shower. So here's a meteor shower list. So we got not much in August after the Perseids. The Orionids are coming in October. So right now it's below the horizon, so the constellations are different that time of year. So it's showing you that's where the radiant is down there. Planetoids, so you got like Pallas and Vesta. They're basically asteroids. So stuff from the asteroid belt and some of the wandering ones. Exoplanets are even on here, which is cool. I already showed that other exoplanet app. This one shows a star that has an exoplanet. So here's a star, and you can turn off rotation. It's locked on right now, but there's a star that actually has an exoplanet right now. And yeah, all that kind of stuff. There's an almanac. Give you a quick rundown of what's going on. Yeah, it's a fun little app, and it also gives you some nice colorful constellation figures. I thought that was kind of special. And this even has the tracking, so if you want to go outside and do VR. Some of these even have an AR mode, so you can actually have a camera passing through while you're doing this, so it's the whole augmented reality approach. So that's a good one. I like that one. Simple, but has some decent features in it. Go back through the list here. The sky is one I didn't show the other day. This is one of the first apps, or maybe I did show it, I can't remember, but this is one of the first apps I actually had on an old Pocket PC phone. Actually, before it was even a phone, it was an iPad back in, was it 98, 99, something like that. It was way back before the iPhones came out. And it has a decent, simulation of the atmospheric conditions, the Milky Way, constellation figures that are kind of nicely drawn, but not colorful, just kind of muted. I have the ecliptic turned on here. You can go to Saturn. I think for Saturn, you actually go to a cool little thing here. Where is that? Yeah, this is it. You hit the little rocket ship. Watch this. You hit the rocket ship, and it's going to go fly up to Saturn and give this really cool 3D view of Saturn. So it starts rotating, showing you the place. But here's the fun thing. It'll give you the moons, but in their 3D orientation. So most of the apps so far I've used, they just keep showing you the 2D view of our view of the sky. And you see the planet, you see the moon's layout across near the disk from our point of view. But in this point, you can actually see it. No, this is actually how they're oriented. So this is cool too. You can actually learn not only more of the moons than you can see in the scope easily, but it'll even show you the orientation. And I believe you can even really zoom in on them and see details. Yeah, not so much. They didn't go that crazy. There are other apps for that. But yeah, you just get navigating around all these objects. So that's rocket ship mode. And if I go back to center it, and you can go back and go back to normal mode. Oh, this is just rocket ship to another planet, so now I went to Earth. I think you have to hit the rocket ship just to back out of it totally. Or maybe go... there's a way to get out of this, I forgot what it is. Sorry, I got down the rabbit hole. This is fun too, you can actually show a date advance dial here. So you can have a time clock in real time. But if you want to quickly zoom, you just use this little dial. And you can make events change very quickly. Okay, now we're back to normal view. So you have those, you have today's sky, which gives you a really nice little view of the sun's up, of course, at this time, the moon, and the planets that are available this time of year. And you click on them, and of course it lets you choose them. And it's going to go to the current time. And now it's going to do a simulation. So you can even do daylight simulation. And I can go backtrack if I want to see to my own speed of stuff flying by. And go through each day. Simulate several days in a row. Like that scene in The Time Machine. H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. That's fun. Fun stuff. Back out of that mode, go back to normal mode. That's basically sitting here doing its thing. And you have other stuff too. Intro to astronomy, all kinds of fun stuff. So the 3D going to the planets thing I thought was really cool, because then you can look at the moons in 3D. That's mainly the reason I wanted to show that one. Another one that can do that, and this one does it for other stars even. This is called Stars and Planets. Got a real simple interface here, but if you go into Explore, you pick these different systems. So here's 55 Cancri. It's the Cancer, star in Cancer. A little rocket ship goes out there. And now this is simulating exosolar planets they found around 55 Cancri. And they made them look like Jupiter because they're probably gas giants based on their mass. But they found several planets around that star apparently, which is kind of cool. And there's a little zoom feature. Oh no, this is a playback, so you can actually change the speed of the playback as things rotate. See stuff go around. And then you can go spaceship back out to... how do I go there? Showing some other stars, and they have other things in here, but I haven't used this program that much. Of course, there's spaceship takes us back to our solar system. This view is fun because not only does it show the standard orrery view of our solar system with the asteroid belt, but if you go way out, you get the Kuiper belt where the comets come from. See that? That's the Kuiper belt right there. And And the Oort cloud is basically where the comets come from, but they kind of originate from the Kuiper belt. But again, I'm forgetting some of the details on that. But it's just, I don't see that in these apps very much. It's kind of cool they put this stuff in here. And you can zoom in and do your usual thing. And this one even has the playback, so if you want to do orrery with our stuff going around and do a little simulation of our solar system. So another app that does this is kind of fun, another orrery. Hey, Wagyu, how's it going? Thanks for following my breadcrumbs. I try to make it easy to get back here, but I really should be putting these up on this channel, not on the synthetic channel. So that is, it has some quirks. It's not a great program in a lot of ways, but stars and planets, really kind of ugly homepage, but the main interface is kind of not so great, but has some great features in it. I like it a lot. What other fun stuff do I have that's kind of random here? There's a bunch of ISS apps for following the International Space Station, as well as Hubble, the Chinese space station, and some other stuff. So in this case, it's currently, you can use this mode where you can find it in the sky, like a compass, so you know where to look. It's calculating some passes. So if you know from my particular location, I'm not going to give you random ones, they give you actually stuff that you can see, because you have to calculate when it's going to be overhead, calculate the sun angle so you can actually see it reflecting, and as it passes overhead, it's like a rheostat turning up and down. They're really fun to watch them pass. So we have ISS. This is all pretty much ISS stuff. And it'll show you where it's going to be. There's the line markings where it's going to within the constellations. You can do, so right now this only has the space station, and you can add other satellites in here. But for other things, I've been using another program. So, although you can add it, I'm just lazy. I don't want to do that. So I do ISS detector, I believe, has the other goodies in it. Yeah, so this has the Chinese space station, it has ISS, it has HST. This one actually shows much better information and a nice view on the map where it's going to be and where it currently is. This only has those two. I guess there's no Hubble stuff for a while. So again, a different app that has some of the same information with different presentation. This one's really fun, satellite tracker. It's showing multiple major satellites as well as some other goodies here. So if I go ISS, shows the nice view of it here. You can actually get a nice 3D view of what it looks like with all the little panels. And what is this? Some stupid ad thing. So of course, as usual, if you don't buy these, they're going to give you a stupid ad. But now it has the same tracking compass, mode if you want to look for it and use the night sky, which is kind of fun. And the main mode gives you, again, kind of like that the app I showed you where it has the day and night view of the Earth mapped on there on the sinusoidal path. You can put in, yeah, so that's pretty much it for that app. It presents pretty well, but it's not, Again, not my favorite app for satellites. Satellite map is another one. I think this one. Oh, this one's in Chinese actually. So I didn't look at this one yet. So yeah, this one's not gonna help me too much. It's a Chinese app there. Where is that other one I was looking at? This one's a trip. Satellite Pro. And this one's actually called Satellite Pro. This one has all the goodies in it. So now does it give you this amazing halo of crap above you. And look at all those damn satellites. But it'll show ISS, Iridium, so you want to see Iridium flares, those are really cool. A Starlink, and Hubble, and it also shows some of the other stuff that's not as obvious, not as popular. You can put in nearby satellites and stuff. So let's go ISS. So give you a nice compass reading. So it's over there, up higher up. So, and some of these apps you can actually send things to your calendar. So I'll give you a reminder. There's Iridium. There's a whole bunch of Iridium satellites still up there. So you can go, where's Iridium 161? Doesn't give me a visual thing, but just a compass. And now we've got Starlink stuff. This is the one that's fucking crazy here with all these. There's so many Starlink satellites up there. And Hubble. Right now it's down over South America. Looks like. On some mission down over South America. People booking their expensive time on it. You go nearby satellites and also track. And I had this view before where you actually see it from the bottom view. I forgot how to. Oh, here you go. Yeah. If you invert it, it automatically goes to find it above me view. And I basically have to. And as you move across, you see them all target. I get a little bit of a haptic vibrate as it locks on each one. And it'll tell you exactly what each one is. And a whole lot of these are Starlink. So we really have just a halo of space junk up. And these are all geostationary ones for the most part. They move a little bit, some of them. But it's a crazy halo of junk up there. See right there, the like a crown above the earth. So that's a fun little app. There's also an ISS Tracker 3D. This one also does Hubble. This costs a few bucks, I think, $2-3. This is nice because you get a little globe. It rotates. You can follow it. You get a nice flat map here, and you say, "What do you want to track?" So there, now it's doing real tracking of. This is the. You have to tell it what you want to track. Where is it here? Here's the tables. So this is passes. You've got different passes coming for different things. So you can plan your day, and I just click on a couple of days that dumps them on my calendar, and I'll get reminded. So ISS, they give you a little thing on the crew. And, oops. Earth view. Yeah. It's got videos on here. NASA TV link, so you can watch videos on here as well. So yeah, you can track a few different things on here, which is kind of fun. I think that's it for the satellite stuff. I showed this the other day. This is kind of fun. Again, the planet tracker. If you just don't look at the sky, you're lost. But say, hey, where are the planets? Saturn's still up, and Neptune is there. Just Jupiter's there, and pretty soon some other stuff will be coming up there. Really makes it a simple, no frills view of where the planets are. Just hold up at the sky and look for them. APOD, I already showed that. Sky Safari Pro, I think I already showed enough of this one. I kept some of these up because I wanted to show some of the features I found. This one, Sky Safari Pro, gives you a nice night sky, very nice, professional. Talk about the supermoon of August we just had. Here's the light pollution module I mentioned. This one cost a fair amount. I already used the light pollution app I showed earlier. That was pretty good. Don't need this, but you can do that. And this stuff that's up tonight. So we already know Jupiter's up. There's some fun facts. There's a little planetary view, a little rocket ship that takes you out there as well. It's gonna fly out there. It's going to show you all these moons. It has a lot of the moons of Jupiter around it and all their orbits. So this is more elaborate than that other app I showed, but just different approach. Now I can look at stuff as if I'm on Jupiter. So yeah, it's fun. There's the moon. Let's go ahead and orbit the moon. Earth way the hell over there. And you can do, change the magnification. And you can, turn the progression on so you can show the animation over time. It's pretty fun. It doesn't give you a nice little wheel like some of them do, where you can just kind of simulate your own direction and speed that time goes in, but you get a little magnification thing here, which is kind of nice. This one also has scope options. You can hook up your scope to it and drive your scope from the app, which is pretty cool actually. And observing menu, you can go their events. This is, I've shown this before. This says, you want to simulate. It's going to show you different events for the moon, which is, it's going to give you the phases in this case. Here's an Io shadow transit around Jupiter. You can actually watch it happen. Io just took off. And there goes the shadow at some point. Did I miss it already? I think I already missed the shadow transit. There's the red spot. There it goes behind again. So in this case, they have the orbital lines turned on, which is a different view. So yeah, it does all these simulations on here. Used to be just for desktop apps, but it's pretty fun. All kinds of database stuff like that. You can plan your night based on what's up and make a little planning list. You can make lists as you observe things, your favorites. You can track your sites, observing sites. This is scope display if you set a custom field of view and stuff, so when you go to the planetarium part of the app, it'll give you a proper representation of your actual scope's field of view based on your optics and stuff. Scope presets, your equipment list. Skycast is kind of fun. You can actually broadcast to other people using the app. Hey, this is what I'm looking at right now. What are you looking at? And it'll show other people what you're doing. Like social media for astronomy. It's kind of fun. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. Night vision to save your red light, so to save your night vision, so you don't blind yourself. Keep your pupils dilated. So, great little program. I like it a lot. I've upgraded quite a bit with a bunch of databases, so it's a little more expensive than some of the other ones, but it's really, really nice. Celestia also has some fun stuff. And it does a little tour. So I can pick, you can quickly zoom in and out with the stuff. You can go to a list, and you can go to object, and you can browse search objects that way, or you can go more to a list view. There's Eclipse Finder. You have Star Browser. So look for specific stars just by searching. There's a camera control here. Time control. It's all kinds of time-based controls for simulating objects at different speeds. What else was on here that was cool? Looks like lots of add-ons for it. Let's go to home. Is that what I wanted? There's a 3D mode. So we are already in 3D mode, looks like. Yeah, that was 3D mode. And this is normal navigation mode. And then there's another view where you can do typical sky view somewhere. Settings. Yeah, so a lot of these are, as you saw, some of the apps I already showed have some 3D functionality in them. So there's some other cool things if you bury through the interface, but this one, pretty decent, but really not meant to be your normal planetarium type app. At least not out of the, once you open, as soon as you open it. Redshift is really good too. Redshift gives you not only the typical planetarium appearance, but gives you lots of cool add-ons. Quick browsing for stuff. Here's an eclipse calendar. You can simulate, show you how the eclipse works. You can simulate the eclipse before you ever go to it, which is cool. Today's sky, again, it gives you a nice little browse thing, whatever's left tonight. And you go to 3D flights. This is fun. So I'm going to go fly to let's go to Uranus. Kind of similar to the other app, but this one has some slightly different details in it. The Sky and Redshift are a little bit different, but they're similar apps. They used to be separate, I think, and then the companies joined. So the only thing they missed here is they don't put their rings around Uranus, which is kind of weird. There may be a setting for that. But again, you get the moons all in 3D. so you can see your orientation completely. And you can do actually be on Uranus, looking at your sky from Uranus. That's really cool. So there's all of us looking at the sun from Uranus. Ah, it's so far away. So that's pretty cool. So the 3D menu is cool. All kinds of fun simulations. This is one called Space Flight. What is this one gonna do? Look, it's just gonna orbit. Yeah, it's just doing an orbital thing. You can go out, look at some stars. So you want to see like, what's Alberio? Is that on here? Let's look at a nice one. Yeah, look at Betelgeuse and Orion. So it's a 3D flight through space to go look at Betelgeuse and Orion. It's basically the shoulder of Orion. The red giant. So if you turn on the constellation boundaries and zoom way out, at some point you would see the orientation of the constellation, but because this is 3D layout of the stars themselves, it would look really weird at this point because it's a 3D perspective of the stars. But yeah. So Altair and Aquila the Eagle. So yeah, nice 3D planetarium effect, more than just looking at the sky. Asteroids, comets, all that stuff. Let's look at Stone. Boy, some of these I don't really know. What's this guy? There you go. Castalia. Funny little asteroid. So cool. And again, the NASA website, I put a link in the last app show, in the show notes. It lets you do some of this on their webpage with actual data from real missions and real picture maps and stuff of various structures. It's really, really cool. Yeah, so lots of fun stuff. This is the Discover section of that program. You can go in to do, you already saw today's sky, you already saw that stuff. You can turn on some extra downloads here. All kinds of settings. So that's some Redshift. It's by the same company that does the sky. Oh, here we go. Here's a meteor shower app. The other one I was trying to show earlier wasn't good. This is the one I was thinking of. So it's showing upcoming meteor showers. And it'll talk about, you know, it even has a forecast for it. And so this is all sporadics on certain dates, but it'll give you tracking stuff for the different stuff and all the famous meteor showers. So we just had the Perseids in August. And it'll show you based on the years, the peaks that we had. And time period, what comets associated with it, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to get way into meteor showers, that's a pretty good little app. So that one's called Meteor Active. What else we got here? Moon globe. This is different. Did I ever show this? Yeah, I kind of already showed this. I just want to show it again because it's really awesome with the 3D data. Real high res stuff. And then you have different modes. You can do it on terrain features and the various things turned on. You can do it based on the spacecraft landings. And you just do a general view. You can zoom in and out. There's your typical view with the Mare. All the goodies turned on. There's even another app on here I have that's more of a map and not a 3D kind of moon tinkering thing, but I don't know if I left that one open or not. Oh, here's another atmospheric one I was talking about. Your weather, some cloud coverage on this one, and visibility maps and things rising and setting. So more apps that are cool. It's called atmospheric, or sorry, astrospheric. What else we got? Luminous Pro. I think I may have shown this one as well. Again, it's planetarium view. It's got telescope. Some stuff about telescope connections. It's got I'm trying to remember why I put this on here. Oh, here we go. So you can go to spacecraft, which is fun. You can learn about them. You can look are they tracking on here? Yeah, so the basic version I have, I can't track the spacecraft, but the fancy one you can track the spacecraft, which is pretty cool. Satellites, comets. Is that extra as well? Yeah, it's also extra. So it's a decent lab, but it's again, it's a lot of overlap with some of the ones I've already shown. So nothing stands out. Sky Safari is another one that was pretty good. This is another visibility thing called CSC about clear sky. I think this one actually shows some known clear sky spots in various parts of the, well, at least North America, if not the globe. No one's tracked it in Europe yet, looks like, but tracks a lot of good clear sky spots in the US, Canada. And you can also look them up by name. So that's kind of fun. A good place to observe. This one called Starfinder. I think this is based on, I think they made this app so you can track a star that you actually bought a certificate for. You get your star named after it. So it's just a typical, planetarium. Poke around, look at the sky and view. But there was one thing in here I thought was interesting. Where is it? Yeah, name a star. See. There was another setting in here. Why I left this on here and I forgot what it is. star. I think I just left it so I could talk about it real quick. Just kind of a dumb, those star registry things that don't mean anything. The scientific community doesn't care what you want to call the star. It's just a dumb way to make money. There's a fun little social app called Meet Stargazers. Yeah, Cyclotron, sorry I'm behind in the chat. Glad you guys found this channel. Boy, I missed a bunch of stuff. Sorry, guys. I've been so busy wrapped up in these dumb apps. Missed a bunch of the chat. I've been a bad boy. Anyway, so this is, let me turn the brightness down, it's too bright. It's a social app for meeting stargazers, so you can pick some popular spots around the US so far. There might be some international ones on here as a meetup point. So like, hey, you go in here and do social stuff. You can meet people at places and chat, and it's kind of fun. It gets boring out there sometimes doing it by yourself, and I play music a lot if I'm by myself, just to pass the time. But it's cool. It's a social aspect. That's why the star parties are so popular. Not just showing people how to find things and the history and the physics behind things, but just just chatting. Talking about other kinds of events and the equipment and cameras and in Yosemite is all kinds of stuff to talk about with all the wildlife and fires and other kinds of stuff to do there. So, but it's kind of fun. They have this little app where you can basically either put your own pin in there or use pins from other people, and there's some ways to even has a little bit of weather information in here. This one's also doing some cloud tracking. It's a pretty nice cloud map in there. Look at that. I forgot that was on here. So again, if you want to see, oh boy, that's not a good place tonight. So you have weather, you have, is this also, oh, they also got the light pollution on here too. How cool. Rise and set times of things. It's basic ephemerides of objects. Lunar, solar kind of stuff, so you rise and set times. Kind of fun little app. It's called Meet Stargazers. I've already shown all those. This is more of your typical at Astro. This is more of your typical atlas you used to use at the stars. I used to use the observatory that the club run, called this place called Foothill College near here. And you can zoom in on this map. Oh, that's the night vision. I don't know what night vision. And this will be your star charts to find your objects. So before you had a cool like, hey, where's this object? Or zoom in and there's the embedded galaxies and embedded nebulae and stuff like that. This is all you had. It wasn't even color for the most part. And the magnitude was the size of the dot. So lower the number, the higher the magnitude, therefore the brighter it is. So for example, Jupiter's around -2 or -3 right now, I think. Your eye, it's a logarithmic scale. As you go up in numbers, it gets fainter very quickly. And so you have, I think, magnitude 7 for most people, and a typical viewing condition is your limit. So I think think the sun is like negative 23 or something like that. But yeah, like Venus and Jupiter usually hover around the -2, -3 area, maybe a little brighter than that. Most stuff you're going to see when you go out with light pollution is probably magnitude 4 or 5. And then you go up to Yosemite and all of a sudden you're seeing magnitude 7 and then some, potentially. And just so much of it. You're just like, oh my god, there's so much stuff. You get lost. And then to see Pluto, you obviously need optics, because Pluto's usually around like magnitude 10 or 11. And all the Messier objects I've been talking about here and there in different streams, they're usually below 7, or close to 7. So they're very easy to find with binoculars, small telescope, and often naked eye. So that's why they were put together as kind of a favorites list based on the guy's comet hunting habits. But yeah, this is just a sample of the chart, different parts of the sky. You zoom in and you go, okay, I gotta find my setting circles. So here's your, your declination and your right ascension, and you gotta put in the coordinates if you have setting circles on your telescope. Or if you get used to star hopping from looking at this, that's also a smart thing to do. But back then, star hopping from this was like, whoa, from this? That's kind of messy. But it harkens back to the old days of charts. So they still have apps for people who like just the charts, called Ad Astra. What else did I have on here? I already showed APOD, Astronomy Photo of the Day. There's another one called, what's this one called? Astronet, I think it is. Yeah, Astronet, where some of my friends have actually posted images on here that won awards and got published and stuff. It's a nice shot of the Pleiades. And so it's pro and semi-pro guys posting their work. And I think they're watermarked and links to buy them and all kinds of stuff. Just all kinds of beautiful shots of supernova remnants. Hey, there's Andromeda Galaxy right there. M31, M32, NGC 205. Very nice. And some of these are just taken with a well presented, like here's just off a camera, it's not even through a telescope. Beautiful shot of the Milky Way there. So these aren't all just like crazy giant telescope pictures with lots of long exposures. This one's in Chinese, so I'm not sure what they're saying here. This is a decent shot of the sun. Nothing fancy. In fact, it's a pretty boring day at the sun there. Not a lot of spot activity. So yeah, you can browse pictures on here and also post pictures. It's called Astronet. So if you're into this stuff and you start publishing things, you can get some notoriety from that. There's the meteor, I think I already showed that. Redshift, astrospheric. I think I had a couple more, that was about it. Moon Atlas. This is the one I already showed. So here's Moon Atlas. This is the actual moon map. So you get some color labels. So you zoom in and zoom in and zoom in. So it's like yellow, some red markings on here, some white text, some kind of greenish text. So this one you'd sit at the scope. It's not something you poke around with like the 3D stuff. There's a nice shot of the Terminator there. The dark side as it's going through phases now. It's becoming a waning gibbous moon after being full. So again, you can zoom way out, zoom way in. There's a lot of detail. Everything's labeled. It's really nice. I used to use charts, just printed out stuff, which is a nightmare. This is so much easier to use. And since you're looking at the moon anyway, your night vision doesn't matter so much. It's so bright. So you can sit here with your app, don't need a filter on it. You just, okay, what's that thing? Oh, there's that thing. You know. And you can see the month of September. And then you guys are, I'm looking for certain features. You want to see some of the seas. So, sea and tranquility is Mare Tranquillitatis, which is where they had Tranquility Base. I'll give you the coordinates if you're not sure where it is. Various settings for the app. So that's a fun little moon map application for just using it as an atlas. Celeste already showed. Redshift sky. Star map 3D, already showed that. Sky Live. This is nice. Not astronomy as much as it is just general photography. It's an app called Magic Hour. So if you want to track Magic Hour and get your nice like pre-sunset pictures, this app will help you track it and give you some tips and sunrise, some other details about it, some stuff about my location. So a little bit about the moon. So that's kind of a fun little app. Really basic. Called Magic Hour. And then they have a lot of the standard astronomy apps like Astronomy Magazine, and even this one, which is BBC Sky at Night magazine. There's actually an app for that. But again, these are, for the most part, you have to pay for these. So I just thought I'd show it for my UK friends that may not know about the magazine. Get your subscriptions through here. Already showed that app. Already showed that one. Already showed that one. There's some other ones. There's like one called Space Images. It's not APOD, but it's other kinds of stuff. So if you want to look at this is Matara Crater Dunes. So you can zoom in and look at the dunes. So it's like little strips of things that are isolated. This is a little Mars helicopter image. So yeah, all kinds of mission data kind of images. Kind of fun. It's called Space Images. There's oh yeah, I forgot Pocket Universe. I showed this last time. Get back to the chat. Sorry, I'm neglecting the chat again. I'm a very bad boy. Yeah, I've never seen this guy at night. It was a show, right? Was it Patrick Moore or something like that? And I have one of his books from years ago when I just got into astronomy. Had some good tips and tricks in it. One was on how to make your own basically hand crank photographic rig for following, basically counteracting the Earth's rotation. If you didn't have a motor drive, you could attach you had a dowel with certain markings on it and a little pointer, and you turn your dowel with the handle on at a certain rate, and you can simulate counteracting rotation of the Earth to get long exposure photographs with your camera. I actually built one out of wood and some metal parts, and I used it 2 or 3 times to say, this is pretty annoying. So, but it was a good idea he had in his books. I like that. It was pretty cool. Anyway, Pocket Universe has a really nice, simple. This is one of the older apps. It's been around forever. Even had this on the Pocket PC, I think. But it gives you like the sky, like right now. And you jump into your sky program, and you also have you have a live view compass mode if you want. But it has some fun extras in here. Like it'll give you some highlights and a nice little interface. Shows you rise and set times of objects. Some planet information about some satellite stuff. There's quizzes in here. Visible from your location. Okay, these are currently visible. So that's really fun. Even stars and other kinds of stuff, not just planets. Sunrise and set times. Nice table of that. Some news. And then cool stuff like here's moon phases. So all in one app, you can kind of do a little bit. There's a nice moon map they built in, which is, not as fancy as the one I just showed you, but you can turn on some labels and stuff, which is decent. So Jupiter's moons, this is what you used to have to do before they built in the apps that had built-in planets you could zoom in and just see them in situ. This is what you had to use, but it's still cool. You can just, you can animate it. You can do, have it go forward, backward. You can jump through and see the stuff at your telescope. So it kind of harkens back to the old days, which is fun. Same thing with Saturn's moons. Get a nice little layout and some stats at the bottom. There's a virtual moon. We can actually do kind of like you do with the actual sky. You can actually be on the moon and kind of look around the virtual moon. It's pretty low tech compared to some of the more recent stuff, but it's fun to have that in there, I think. There's you can simulate the Falcon landing. Oops. They have a simulation for the Falcon landing. Well, I'm going to crash it. I just killed it. So it's like a version of Lunar Lander on your astronomy app. It's the first time I tried this. It's very funny. I just lost it. It's off screen somewhere. Anyway, that's kind of fun. They have a sense of humor. Moon phases. I did that already. Moon map. Here's an orrery. So you want to see where stuff is in relation to each other, and then you can do animations. Crank up the speed. So that's also fun, just to see stuff doing its business. Gives you the date and time there as it's advancing. Virtual Mars again. We got Virtual Mars Planet Gallery and other stuff. ISS. Track the ISS. Oh, red flashlight. That's clever. Make a screen red, and you can just do red flashlight at night. Satellites. Wow, look at that. Look at all those damn satellites. You can click. Can you click each one? Yeah, you click each one and find out what it is. Interesting. Yeah. So it's deceptively simple. Back to the moon again. Oh, here's the AR one. So you can do. This is kind of fun. You can do stereo sky view, planets not to scale. This one's fun. So I'm going to use my camera. And there, so you can go and look at the planets in your surroundings. We can actually see the Saturn, there's Jupiter. They're not to scale, but you can actually go in and walk up to them and stuff. It's just, I think that's just kind of fun, actually. Yeah. How do you get out of that mode? I'm losing track of the, how do you close it? There we go. It's on the corner. So they have for planets, solar system, even a desktop orrery. This is fun. And it's like that one you could buy in the store for kids with the little arms coming out of it. And you can animate that one too, of course. There goes Jupiter. Very fun. It's all one little app, so I like Pocket Universe a lot. It's very clever. What else did I not show? That was most of it, I think. Just a couple of random things. This is a game called Planet X. I haven't tried it, but if you guys know about the history of Planet X, they're looking for something way out there that's perturbed the orbit of Pluto, Neptune, made Uranus go on its side. A whole bunch of crazy stuff happened out there that's really bizarre. So they're always thinking there's some other planet out there that may have perturbed everything, but they never actually found. I'm not up in the latest and greatest on that, but they haven't totally given up, I don't think. But some math that started leading to people think that was a possibility, but there's a game here now based on it. I didn't bother playing it, but I just thought I'd bring it up since it was kind of a funny topic. Distant suns. I don't know how to shoot distant suns. Oh yeah, distant suns is cool too. Of course, you got to have Google Earth if you're gonna. This is a classic that was on the desktop for a long time. Bought by, used to be a program called Keyhole, and Keyhole Pro, and then Google bought it. And I used to use it with a Spaceball when it was Keyhole Pro, and you could like fly around the 3D Earth, and you could pull up and out in the Spaceball and zoom out. But it's just so much fun because you can just go anywhere, zoom in, do like 3D angles, and fly through stuff. Now I could do fly on the Earth, change the angle. I love Google Earth. It's really clever. There's even like Easter eggs all over the place. People have found like planes in the middle of nowhere looking weird, and some of the stuff didn't maybe capture as well as they wanted it to. So that's a fun one. Distant suns is interesting. Another thing that used to be a desktop app, I think. Okay, started in the 50s. Well, okay. Sorry, getting back on the chat. This one's fun because this has a few simulations in here, which I really like. So I left it in this mode it's in. There's a ribbon here you can turn on and off, and it's basically a date and time, calendar ribbon, basically. I'll take my little zoomer thing out of there. And so you can just leave it on the part of the sky you like and do this. The slow mode here will let you watch the planets go through and watch the phases. So you can do really slowly where it's just a given night. There goes the sun and all the other goodies. And you can just kind of toss it to make it move. And just keep doing this day by day by day by day by day. Go back and forth and simulate it. Or you can do the crazy mode on the top, which is a hell of a lot faster. And watch the phase of the moon on the top. So there's a whole month and a month. It doesn't even have bother having the sun change as much as it normally does, because it's you see the sun is doing the analemma. It's actually going to figure 8. So if you look at this, people have tracked the sun over a month and longer, taking time exposures and putting them together, and it actually forms this thing called analemma. It's like the figure 8 where one end is fatter than the other end. So this is fun. I like stuff like this. It's a different approach. I haven't seen other apps do this where you can play with the really slow mode and then really fast one. You can just see the moon go whoop, whoop, whoop. And see the dance of the planets. See how they get, some of them go through retrograde, some of them go through normal stuff, but so I thought that was really fun. This is Distant Suns. The app itself is okay. You know, it's not like, let's go to extras here. You have, there's a Google Cardboard mode here where you can get a stereoscopic to give 3D. There's a rocket ship mode, which I haven't played with much yet. Similar to the other programs that had a rocket ship mode. You can do events. So this one actually tracks astronomy events. So there was something here that was canceled up in the Sierra Nevada mountains. Another one was canceled in San Francisco. So it's a live calendar of events. Some stuff's getting canceled for clouds and other stuff. What's this? Oh, got a nice moon map built in. Here's a what's up tonight. And again, you could simulate what's going to happen overnight. Of course, it's a squashed view, but it's also a squashed screen, so you kind of have to do that. So, demos, events, extras. What's else under demos? You can do, what's this Saturn demo here? Oh, this is tracking around Saturn. So it also has a 3D mode for some of the planets and stuff, which is cool. So that's nice. You can go to find extras. But I really like this ribbon. The ribbon is kind of a clever idea. Pretty cool. Distant Suns. This is stuff we already did. Already did that one. Did I do this one already? Universe Starfinder 3D. Forgot what's special about this one. Skip. Yeah, sure, whatever. Oh yeah, this one has mode, constellation art. There's something about this is why I wanted to show this. Hello, what are you doing? There's the grid. So it's not rotating. Yeah, I don't remember why I wanted to show this one. Turn off that, turn off that, turn off that. Put the landscape back on. It's like it's stuck, it's not. I don't know why it's stuck, but anyway, I had that one in there for a reason, but most likely it's overlap from some stuff I already showed. Live sky, you already saw. This is kind of fun. Milky Cam. They made a program with all kinds of custom things for slow shutter speeds and really long, crazy exposures for basically setting this up on a tripod and taking pictures of the Milky Way, which needs a long exposure. So if you don't have a long exposure cam, I use one called slow shutter, which is pretty good. But Milky Cam was kind of funny because it's aimed at just taking weird long exposures of the Milky Way. So very specific utility there, but may come in handy for some people. Oh yeah, this is cool too. Gas giants. I like this one. Very simple, but they give you the basic gas giant plans across the top. You choose your zoom, how much you want to see. If you zoom out enough, you can see, in this case, the moon's going around here, and you can simulate when things are going behind or in front of the planet for a given period of time. And it even tells you down here it's eclipsing, or it's visible, not visible. So that's kind of fun. Do it for each of these guys. You can go to Saturn. You can't rotate in 3D, but it does label them all and show you them moving around over time. Go to Uranus. Look, the ones at Uranus move very slowly. They're much further out. They're not moving very fast. Same with Neptune. Much different orbital period of these guys. So it's a fun little app. I think it's mostly what it does. Show labels. Flip up. Simulations off. Pinch to zoom. I did pinch to zoom, but you can do some little settings you can do for that. But I just like the fact that you can simulate the moons doing their dance in a very kind of simple but nice way. Weather channel. I think I showed all this stuff already. There's that crappy meteor shower thing. Get that out of there. Cosmic Atlas. Already showed all that. Yeah, I think I've gone through all the junk. That is most of the junk. Just a quick review for those that came later. I'll show it again just for kicks. The pictures I took last night in the terrible weather conditions. I have a before and after here with the video and the stacking experiment I did. So of course Saturn looks terrible last night, and even in the stack it looks pretty bad, but you can see here how it's all getting distorted and just looking awful. It wasn't sharp. It looks like the rings are actually flapping like wings. So this was converted to an AVI file, and then this was the final result after some stacking and tweaking as best I could. It was pretty awful looking in Photoshop, but considering what you saw, it could be a lot worse. But you're not getting the clear separation of the rings. It's just barely noticeable, and you're definitely not getting Cassini's division where it breaks the major section of the rings. But considering how horrible that looked in the video, the stacking did help quite a bit. In the case of Jupiter, though, Jupiter turned out pretty good. Of course, I had to expose it for the disk and not the moons, so you won't see the moons here. So here's a cleaned up image of Jupiter, and here is the very crappy Jupiter footage. So you see it's all over the map because I wasn't fully aligned, so the planet was drifting, and plus I was zoomed way in, so it's drifting because of that even more so. So I keep correcting it. But when you compare that with the final image, hello, why are you stuck? Stuck again. Zoom in a tad here for comparison. So the stacking software is great because it doesn't care where the planet is on the frame as long as it's visible. You tell it it's a planet, it basically goes, oh, okay, I'm looking for this kind of shape. And then you can go through and do whatever you have to do. And then it just did a little bit of an unsharp mask on here. Couldn't go too much further without it looking weird. Like I was saying before, a lot of people tend to do silly stuff like push it way too far and it just looks like a cartoon or some animated drawing of some kind. It just looks fake. This is one more pass of unsharp mask just for kicks. And you know, it's not horrible, but it's starting to look unreal and a little too dark. But I see people take it further than this, where you have like hard lines and everything, and like some of the swirls are barely perceptive down here, all like line art and stuff. It's just like, oh, and the colors are all messed up, and it's really annoying. I mean, if that's what floats their boat, that's fine. But nice rug for my desk. This is the dining room table at my girlfriend's place, so it's just a kind of a rustic wooden table. And since stuff gets spilled on all the time, I don't want to put anything on it and mess it up. carpet is for the floor, not for the desk. Anyway, so that's the tweaked version. It was a fun experiment, but I really just need to get better quality original images. But the cool thing is the stacking tool actually works really well even on good images. It just makes them that much better. And so next time I go out choosing a much better night, I will do some more stacking experiments. I'll also do some stacking with some galaxies and nebula shots, and the stuff actually happens so quickly, to be honest. I could actually do the stacking in the field and show it on the stream. This I think it was 1,000 frames of an AVI for Jupiter, and it rejected like 75% of them because I just said, you know, don't use everything. And that plus the conversion to AVI total, and then a tiny bit of Photoshop, was it maybe 3 minutes total, something like that. It's very, very quick. So I'm thinking of doing that on one of the streams. Light pollution, yeah, there's an ultra block and a sky glow filter, all these different terms you can use for stuff. I haven't tried the photographic stuff. I know it definitely helps with your visual, but since the camera perceives things a little bit differently, especially with a time exposure, it may or may not help, or may have some other artifacts. So luckily the eyepiece that I bought recently to do another test is a zoom eyepiece that not only takes the T adapter so I can minimize the eyepiece projection artifacts by just having directly go onto the eyepiece like it's a lens, but I can attach a filter on the other end. And since I already have an ultra block, sky glow, whatever they call it, filter, I even have an O3 filter for some nebulae. I have an H beta filter for some other stuff, as well as a polarizing moon filter. Now you can't reach it when it's plugged in, but if I have to do some tweaks, I can pull it out, tweak it, put it back in as well. So yeah, it does take filters, which is kind of nice. And because this one particular eyepiece also does a 1.25" eyepieces, not just 2-inch, I don't necessarily have to rebuy all my filters, which is kind of cool, because that would be expensive. Some of these filters are $200-300 each, and I don't have to buy double sets of them. It's kind of nuts. Yeah, I'm not sure why. I think AVI does a better job at doing discrete frames as files, as like picture files, because all the programs generally say they prefer AVI over anything else. So I'm not sure why they do that. I'm just going through some of the experiments that people are talking about online. And you know, from what I've seen with this experiment, so far so good. If I had actual decent images, these would look really nice. And these are just like barely passable from crap images, so that was kind of impressive actually. So the smart thing is that you want to use a tool that understands astronomy. And so the guy who wrote this tool called PIPP, and this is the one that converts to an AVI, and also in the conversion process it's adding the logic that you're looking at a planetary image. You tell it that, and it knows to encode that information into the video file, and then when you give it to the stacker, it already knows it's a planetary image stream, and that helps to make the search much quicker and lock in the target points. It needs to use a certain amount of target points for features to line up the stacks, and anywhere from like, I don't know, 15 to 45 or more targets per run. You can also go in and manually do your targets, but I'm like, I don't want to do the manual stuff. That's got the old-fashioned way of doing stuff. I'm sure it turns out better, but who has the patience for that? It's gotta have the software do some stuff for you, you know. Yeah, it does a pretty good thing, and then it renders out as a TIFF, so you don't lose anything until you do some more shit to it. So, like I said, it's the first time I experiment with this stuff, because a lot of my friends use the high-end stacking stuff in their, you know, $5,000 deep sky cameras that are liquid cooled and or whatever. There's some kind of cooling system on it. I don't know if it's a pt2 cooler or something, but it's pretty nutty. These guys are taking beautiful shots that are like photographic stuff you'd see in a magazine or a book, a textbook. But it's taking them literally all night to do, you know, sometimes 20, 30 or more frames in red, and then in green, and then in blue. And they take light fields and dark fields to get the bad pixels out and the dust out. And they take a whole bunch of other stuff, and then the software basically has to register all that shit and make a super composite image. And then if they're lucky, they'll get 2 or 3 complete images in a night, and they won't even be done until they get home and finish processing later, because it's really high-res images, and they take so many on a given night. It's kind of nutty. I can see the appeal because the end result is really, really good. But I'm just like, yeah, I don't really have the patience for that. So, hey Neil, what's up? Thanks for finding the breadcrumbs to get here. Yeah, Registack's the old one. I used this German guy made a good one called Stackart. So stacking program in German, Stackart. I mean, the interface is in German, but the guy who made it is. So it's pip and Stackart combo, and it works pretty well. You don't have to do a couple tweaks, and it's mostly automated, and it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the stuff, and this is free software, so it worked out pretty well. So that's it for the apps. That's app recap number 2. I'm sure I'll find some other fun ones to do another one, but I also wanted to first do the images, so I started the stream with. I got some moonshots too, but the moon was really crappy, so there's no point in stacking moonshots. I can get really good moonshots from single shots anytime when the scene's good. Yeah. Pretty good, but it's getting pretty late, and I probably should take at least a nap before Ramsey. So, does you guys have any special requests that I can do right now, or questions or whatever? Probably call it. I do need to. Wouldn't exactly call it beauty sleep, but I do need some kind of a nap, so I'm not a zombie. There's too many late nights lately. I need to catch up a little bit. Yeah, this was Neil. This was a I think you came in and you missed the video I played. I was playing up above. I'll play it again real quick. Of the really shitty scene conditions at night, and I said, yeah, I'm going to take these anyway as a good. This will be my first stacking experience with the worst possible images I can get, and you can see the end result wasn't terrible. It wasn't anything you would publish, but considering what I thought it would look like, it did a pretty damn good job. So I'll play in the background here. So, and of course my drift, I think it's drifting everywhere because I didn't polar align when I was in a hurry to find a better location that wasn't full of sprinklers and had a good horizon line. It was dark last night. I just found a dead-end cul-de-sac in a tech area of the neighborhood. Just set up, and of course clouds are still coming and going, but for the most part it was clear. It just, the scene was just awful, and the Saturn view is just terrible. So part of this is wind blowing the scope, and part of this is me bumping it, trying to change the focus for a little while. And then I finally just settled in and just said, you know what, I'm just going to take this video however it is and just stack it, tweak it, tiny bit of unsharp mask, and that's the end result at the bottom. See Matt, I'm going to take off. I'm just showing this again for Neil real quick since he missed the other part, unless he goes back and watches it. But so yeah, first stacking experiment was pretty good. Just got to get some nice images and it'll be even better. Yeah, I can't imagine the old, people told me years and years and years ago about the old stacking routines, and it was very manual, a lot of manual targeting and trial and error and stuff like that. So I'm so glad I kind of bypassed that. I guess when I was younger, I didn't give a shit about time. It would have been something fun, but now I don't think I have the patience for that. It's just automated's the way to go if you can do it. Just pause that there. Jump ahead to a part that's good representative frame of muck. There you go. It's pretty bad. So yeah, gonna start with better stuff and get much better output, and it was damn quick and really easy to do. So I'm looking forward to getting some good images and making them that much better. Oh, the custom file server, yeah, TV. Yeah, you got some good stuff on there. Waku. Watch that a few times. Good stuff, good stuff. Anyway, yeah. I'm getting goofy here, losing sleep too many nights, so it'd be fun to hang out longer, but I pretty much showed all the goodies I wanted to show and need a little nap with my little binky. So thanks again, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you found the breadcrumbs. I'm going to try and do them here from now on, and I don't want to pull them down off the other channel because then you end up losing these stupid YouTube's really dumb about it. If you edit something or move it, you lose the chat stream. I don't like having the chat on there. So I may make copies of them to put on this channel just for reference. But if I take them off the other side, they lose their chat, which kind of sucks. So just try to do them here from now on. The big problem is if I try to do a mobile stream from my phone or iPad, I don't have enough subscribers on yet to do that yet, I don't think. I can do it from the computer. I only have 19 subscribers on this channel, and YouTube's annoying. You need 50 subscribers to do mobile streams. So, it's kind of annoying. Here, I'll fix your URL here, Wagyu. See if it zero to dots, huh? Should auto parse to a thing. Maybe it doesn't auto parse for caps. Interesting. Should have seen that as a URL. Weird, it didn't parse it as a URL. I guess is it caps or is it? Does it actually start with a www or something? Yeah, weird. Should have parsed it. Didn't do it. Oh well, it's there anyway. Let's go check it out later. Good stuff, good stuff. Anyway, thanks again, guys, and I'll see you at Ranzi's. God, it's not that far from now. 4 hours, something like that. Yikes. Good thing I didn't have much caffeine tonight and just crashed immediately. So. Cool. Thanks again, guys. More stuff to come. Next time I'm going to try and get some more. It's hard to get the deep sky stuff in some of the areas around here with all the light pollution. Because Yosemite was so dark, you can just push that stuff. And if you saw my my Yosemite stream where I was trying to get the Orion Nebula as the sun was getting past the diagonal light, and the sun was starting to get close to coming up, and the Orion Nebula is getting washed out. And it's not quite that bad here with the light pollution, but that's an artifact you can get when you try and do longer exposures. So I'm also going to have to find some dark locations that I can get a signal. That's always a problem, even though I'm in Silicon Valley. If I go up to the hills around here, or somewhere that's a pretty dark location, I may not get the best tethering signal. So it's going to need some trial and error. I'm going to have to make my own little map of sites that have decent coverage consistently, so I know where to go each time. But yeah, good stuff. Thanks, guys, again. Gonna get some Z's. I would play the Star Hustler music from Jack Horkheimer, who says, "Keep looking up." But it's Tomita, and I would get at least a copyright claim, if not a strike. But that stuff went really well with the planetarium programs and stuff, so I would love to use that. Just don't want to get busted. So I'll keep using the random ambient music crap. So anyway, catch you guys later. I'll see ya.